Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to sit and listen to this video. Um, so, first, before I even get started, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell. We are doing Queen Sugar Season 6, Episode 2, and Dream with Them Deeply. Now, in this episode, we learn a lot. We see a lot of things happen. Um, if I stop or have to do anything for a moment, you guys, I am actually nursing myself through like these sinus and allergy problems that I'm now having. I haven't had to deal with in a while, and now they back up. But it's a blessing to know that it's not, part of the pandemic. I'm just grateful that it's sinuses and allergies, and I can, do my honey and my tea and all that to get myself together and ready. So let us go ahead and hop into this review. So we start out with them being at the hospital. So we have Violet, um, Ralph Angel, Darla, Micah, Hollywood. They're at the hospital because they're there to check on Prosper. We kind of found out that Prosper is in a coma. This is really sad to see. I like how they are showcasing what it's like being in this pandemic and trying to check on loved ones in the hospital. You can't see them really. Um, if they do allow you in a room, you have to get COVID tested first before going in. So I like how they're actually showcasing what it is and what's going on. Valerie lets us know that she calls Billy, that is Prosper's daughter, who lives in Chicago, I believe. Um, and so Billy gets there, she makes it, and we see, she's kind of rushed, and Violet is like, thank you for taking the time out your like schedule or whatever to come, which to some people is kind of like, well, Violet didn't do anything wrong, but I want you all to know the underlying insult in there, because that was an insult. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come check on your father, which basically implies that Billy never has time for her father, or that she doesn't make time for her father, or that she doesn't really care about him. So thank you for coming to do something you really don't care about. That's basically what she was saying. And Billy is like, you don't have to thank me, but she also was upset with Violet. She's like, that's my father, of course I will come. And basically, I was told that, he was out here doing this. He shouldn't have even been out there in the first place doing all these things. And I just want, to say that that's normal emotion, especially when you have a parent that's more mature in age. Like, I know my dad is 64, and sometimes he's doing stuff, and I'm like, you don't need to be doing that. And so I can understand that reaction. I see it. Prosper, I believe, is probably in the show in his 70s, maybe. Um, I apologize if y'all just heard a noise. I got a message from work. Um, but anyway, I'm sorry. So, I think Prosper's in his 70s. So, him being out supporting and stuff like that, I get like, yeah, let him support, but he shouldn't be working a station. That's Billy's perspective. He shouldn't be out there doing the physical stuff. He should be out there just to support, not engaging in ways that could get him hurt. Nova comes out, and Nova's like, if you want to blame somebody, blame me. And he was happy to help. It's like this attitude. And I'm like, why do y'all have such an attitude, excuse me, towards her? She's showing concern. She's worried her father's in a coma. I can understand why she would have, why she would be in a frenzy. But so she, the doctor comes out. She lets the doctor know, like, I'm his child. If anything comes up about his health, I'm the one that should be informed. Here's this, here's that, here's that. We have all this stuff set up for him. Here's the documentation. Everything is done. Communicate with me. And what I got from that is, frustration. A lot of frustration. And at the end of the episode, it came up, but I'm gonna say it now. Or what I believe what it is that her father has given more respect and care and attention to the Bordelon family than she received herself from him. And so having them step in like they're his blood, when I mean they're friends, they're close to blood, they've been friends for 30 years, but having them there is just a reminder that, hey, he's always chose you guys over me. But when things get hard or something happens, you have to call me. So let me handle it. I think that's what's going on there. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but boundaries are definitely a problem here. But anyway, we see Micah sitting outside. Micah's on his phone. He's having a conversation, and the officer kind of touched his shoulder, and I think the officer said like move or back up or something like that. The officer said it was some stupid stuff, and it triggered Micah. At this point, Micah had his interaction with the officer, with the police officer. I want to say it had been like 2 seasons ago. So I'm gonna say two. It's been years now, right? Well, Micah, I don't think Micah ever went to therapy, and this is something that the black community needs to stop doing. Therapy is a very important tool to help you move past things. When Micah was first dealing with his flashbacks, within that first month, we call that acute stress disorder. So whenever you have those type of symptoms, the flashbacks, the reliving the moments, potential irritability, things of that nature, all that, within 1 month, we call that acute stress disorder. Yeah, I want to say it's within 1 month to three. After 3 months, I want to say it's after 3 months, that's PTSD. This boy has been dealing with this for years, years, and has not received not 1 ounce of help. Don't get it wrong. He's been um, diving more into the to African diaspora and the black community. However, he has not went to go get his mental health checked. Like Micah needs therapy because Micah is going through PTSD. Sad thing is, I believe that Micah, because I look at me speaking a little early now. I think Micah is gonna have. I think he's gonna have some potential intimate feelings for the young man we saw him talk to, but I think that's gonna come out of him relying on that young man to hold all of his emotions and all of his trauma from his incidents with the police, and that's not fair because that stuff don't last. So I just want to kind of throw that out there. But we see Charlotte meeting with all these large political people. They're trying to convince her to run for a state senator. Um, she's trying to see like weigh the options. Is this something I should do? Should I not do it? Like her focus is on Saint Josephine Parish. And they're letting her know, well, if you're state senator, you could do more, not just for St. Josephine Parish, but for the state. So yeah, you're loud, you're boisterous, you are out there. See, this is the difference, and I want to make this clear. If that was Nova, as we see, Nova is just as outspoken as Charlie, but Nova gets painted as kind of like a demonized person, where Charlie is more of she's praised for it. Let's just be clear that is a colorism thing that happens not only in America but also in our black community. Um, the way we look defines how people are going to see us. The way we speak defines how people are going to see us. For instance, if I'm like, screw the police. Look at what y'all doing, y'all blah 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 blah. I'm saying it's like, oh my God, he's an angry black man. Oh my God. But if I was to say, I think it's very distasteful how, we rely on the police force and the police force then comes against us because of how we look. That is my experience. If I say it like that, and it's like, oh my God, yeah, you know what, we could, I don't agree with you, but, I'm not seeing as that threat. But you see, as a darker man, that's how I would have to talk in order to have my point made given across instead of it being seen as such a rude, oh, he's a horrible person. That's the same thing with like these housewife shows, the white ones versus the black ones. It's basically on the vernacular. But also then when you look at the black people in particular, we look at color because look at how Charlie's treated versus Nova, things of that nature. Um, so we end up back at the hospital. We have Violet and Billy. They're together. They're talking about how Violet basically signed a document. Oh my God, what did I do? Sorry. Okay. How Violet signed a document without waiting for Billy to come, and the thing was, Violet was like, "Well, somebody had to sign it because he was." But the thing is, she was in flight. She was en route. I understand that it could have been life altering, but then that also says something about the hospitals as well, because usually they ask for next of kin or family. And if you say, oh, he has a daughter and she's on her way, they'll tell you that you can't sign anything until that person has to be the one to sign. So you can't do it because you're not family. But it seems like they're working off of a like a familial type of system. Like, oh well, I'm familiar with you. I know you, and I know that you know Prosper, so you could sign the paper because you have his best interest at heart. However, if Billy wanted to take them to the medical board, she would win because she's his child. You can't do that without talking to her. So, Violet has an issue with this. Cause oh, you come down here and your daddy, you should be respecting what he wants, and you this and you that, and you this high and mighty. One thing Violet has done a lot of this season, actually last season and the season prior, is just not coming out more. She crosses a lot of boundaries. Actually, that whole Bordelon family crossed boundaries like no tomorrow. How do you sit with yourself and tell this woman who's his child that she basically needs to respect you and what it is that you did for her father because she should, because she basically isn't there every day? You can't do that to somebody. You can't say that kind of stuff. Like, that's his child. You're his friend. There's a defined boundary there. And so Billy had the Violet and the rest of the Bordelons removed from the visitors list. I won't lie to you, I don't blame him. I would have done the same. If my father was in the hospital, my dad has four other children outside of me and one possible. We know four for sure. If my four siblings have not signed a document and I have not signed a document, I wish somebody in our hometown who's known him all his life would go and sign a document or would tell me what I should do. From what I see, his daughter wants nothing but the best. She has all the health stuff lined up. She got the like everything lined up to the T to where they can operate and do anything with no problem. So I don't see why it's an issue, and I don't valid crosses bound. They need to. They don't like people who have defined boundaries. They don't like it. They hate it because it doesn't allow them to push their way into people's business. Just like Violet did with Ralph Angel and Darla with sending Blue to that school. Just like Violet is doing with her thoughts about Charlie and Davis. Just like Violet is doing with this lady she's helping. We'll talk about that in a minute. Even though intentions are good, the way that she go about doing stuff is wrong. But anyway, y'all, we see she's upset and she calls Nova and just like, you need to do something to Billy. You need to talk to her because I know y'all used to be friends, which makes me kind of wonder. Billy and Nova acted well about each other. I wonder if they used to mess around. Excuse me, or something else, because something gonna happen. I'll wait till I get there. So we see Micah at school. He's at Xavier. And Micah discusses his trauma again with that young man that I was talking about. So we go keep an eye on that right there. But then we see that he called Charlie to tell Charlie about Prosper. And Charlie abandons her trip to fly home the next day so that she can check on Prosper and get in his business. Again, boundary crossing. Charlie, your job is to be there for Micah, Davis, basically with Davis, and your family when they want and allow you to. The only people that you have the right to potentially, I guess, bomb rush your way into their lives is Micah and potentially Davis if y'all decide to do whatever. You don't have the right to do that to anybody else. And actually, you don't have that right with them. Let me be real. Let's be clear about boundaries. Boundaries are there to protect your space and your peace. Right now, I'll be honest with y'all. I'm not talking to I don't speak to my mother, and I do not speak to some of my siblings. Love them dearly, would do anything for them. However, I found myself crossing boundaries for them, and it was at the detriment of my peace. And what I realized is that my family did not care enough about my peace to tell me, hey Charles, stop back. So I had to set that boundary for myself. Like, wait a minute, you need to back up. You know, Um, and so when I set that boundary, like, you know what, I'm gonna stop crossing boundaries. I'm gonna stop giving what I don't have or giving what I do have at the detriment of losing something that I need or want for you all. They got upset with me. And so because of that, we don't speak. So this is what I say. Always take care of yourself first. Taking care of you is the most important thing that you can do. And setting firm boundaries is the most responsible thing you can do for your health, mental, spiritual, physical health, and your being, financial health as well. Because when people see that you allow them to cross boundaries, or when they just let you cross their boundaries, they will continue to let that happen. And that's not good. It's not a good thing for you, it's not a good thing for them. Setting boundaries is healthy. A lot of people don't want it to be healthy because they want to say it's selfish. It's okay to be selfish for your peace. So keep that in mind. So again, like I said, Nova and Val is speaking on the phone, and Nova is recorded. She sees that her phone something recorded her on the phone, and she says she doesn't trust the line. So we go to the hospital. We see that Raph and Darla having a pretty baby girl. I think that's sweet. And then we get over. We see Hollywood and Violet at the house, and they talking about the fact that Hollywood is about to be shot on camera for the real spot, and he's like, "You gonna be there?" She's like, "I'm gonna be there." Blah blah blah. But we see that she has something else packed up that Hollywood asked her about, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna drop this off, then I'll be right over." So we're now seeing the issues that are coming up for Hollywood and Violet, which a lot of it is surrounding trust because of how Violet is moving. I think I get it. When I put on my psychology hat, I do. So I'll tell you about that in a second. So Raph and Darla are at the park and they're eating and chatting, um, and they're discussing a home birth and things of that nature. Raph Angel is like, a bit scared for the home birth, but Darla is like kind of reassuring him, like, hey, no birth is safe. They all come with their risk, but this is what she wants to do. I think it's a beautiful thing. I hope they definitely go through it. I believe they will. Yeah, they said that they don't want to do it. I hope we get to see it on the show. She looks like she's actually pregnant. Like when you look at her arms, like just kind of how pregnant women gain some weight, kind of all over. Like she really looks like she's pregnant. I really hope. Well, we'll see. Charlie goes to the hospital trying to run up in Prosper's room, and Billy Sia. They stop and they talk to each other and they chat about Prosper and the new boundaries. Charlie compares this to Bill to Charlie compares Billy's move to her want chasing control and power, and how basically she can relate to that herself, and how when her father was sick she wasn't there for his last moments and she wish she could have. But this is the difference, Charlie. You didn't come. When they called Billy, she came. That's the difference. And I don't like when people try to draw comparisons that don't really make sense. Yes, Billy is a professional woman. I'm guessing as she's doing these things for herself, she's trying to elevate in life. And y'all are looking at her basically saying that's a bad thing because look at what you're missing out on with family. That's what y'all telling this woman. But she have children. And I'm guessing a husband at home that she has to be there for. That is her family. Her life cannot revolve around everybody else when she got herself and little ones and a man to take care of, or a woman. We don't know yet. And y'all are telling her that she should be the one to, oh, you putting these boundaries in place because you want control and power, and you're gonna miss out on his last day. I hope you don't miss out on his last days. And I think it was right here when Billy told Charlie, I asked my dad to move with me. I asked him to come to me. Whenever I told him, hey, come to, was she talking to Nova? She was talking to one of them, but she was just like, I told my dad come to Chicago, especially when COVID came on. Like, come to Chicago, and his thing was the border loans will take care of me. So y'all can't sit there and say that this woman is not putting herself out there trying to do for her dad when her dad will not do anything. Like for my dad, Daddy, you need a break, you need a vacation. Come see me in Texas. Come just stay here. You won't have to worry about lifting a finger. Just take a week off, enjoy a break. You know what he did? Never came, never showed up. Always talked about how he should come and did what? Stayed at the house. My dad is 64. I think Prosper's in his 70s. They just want to sit their butts in the way that they want to sit, and that's okay. You can't blame the kids for that, and you can't say, "Well, you need to be at home." Then no, I'm gonna do what I want to do for me. He want to stay there, and he think y'all gonna take care of him. Fine, let y'all take care of him then, right? But oh, y'all can't because when something happen, y'all gotta call me. I'm feeling like that's what Billy's feeling in her spirit. So we see Nova outside conversing with a new guy that teaches at Tulane, black handsome, I can't think of his name. And then they're just talking, they're chatting about him being in Tulane and the art. Then we see Micah is at the real spot taking pics of Hollywood, and Hollywood is texting Violet like, "Yo, where you at? Come on." But we see that Violet's dropping stuff off to a woman and her baby. The woman is oh my god, she played Craig's girlfriend on Friday. I know something Parker. Her last name is Parker. I can't think of her name. I can't think of her name, but I know who she is. I'm happy to see that she's acting again. Um, but she's basically a battered woman. You know, the baby texts the dad for his birthday, but fortunately the message didn't go through. And when you cross boundaries, people are allowed to take advantage of you, and this is what we see happening with Violet. I'm pretty sure Violet crossed this boundary because she, as a battered woman and doing all this sneaking around, because she recognizes what that's like. And even though she has a good man now, she's moving in a way that she had to move when she was with her ex-husband. And that in itself puts her at risk of losing what we now like to say is a good man. Um, Violet opens herself up to be taken advantage of because we then see the woman, you know, who's freaking out at this hotel room, asks Violet to talk to her son about why he can't text his dad. That's not Violet's job. And not just that, the baby wants Violet to stay for dinner. And the woman is like, and what do Violet do? Oh, I can stay. What y'all got over here to eat? Let me eat with y'all. She takes Hollywood and cancels. That's not a smart move because what you just said to your husband is that everyone else is more important to you than him. And you lied about it. You lied about something you don't even have to lie about. I'm pretty sure Hollywood will understand, oh, you know, I'm helping this woman and her family, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. Hollywood would not trip. Yet, you're moving like he would. And that's because that's out of, that's valid. That's almost like PTSD right there as well. It's like reliving in a way as if you're back in this situation. Excuse me. Hollywood has never done anything to you that suggests that he will be physically aggressive towards you. However, you're moving in this way. So I'm wondering what about Hollywood reminds her of that. I'm wondering what's going on there. We would have to see. Um, we see that Raph and Darla are having dinner. She's limiting meat to 2 to 3 times a week because I think because Raph Angel commented on the fact that she was eating like I think she had like 3 packs of beignets or something for the week. So now she wants to watch her figure. Look, ladies, I understand that you have your cravings and things like that. I will say, you know, all in all, just do whatever's healthy for you and your baby. I don't have to carry a child, so I can't tell nobody what to do when they carry one. So just whatever's gonna make you happy, do what's gonna make you happy. Charlie's on the phone. She discussing some stuff she get hung up on. That was real quick. So Nova pops up on Billy. She go to the house. She just again crossing boundaries. How do you just? She called Billy. Billy didn't answer. How you just go pop up at somebody's house? Let me tell you something. I already told my family. My sister, I have a sister that stayed. She moved now, but she stayed 30 minutes away from me. She's like, I'm just gonna pop up over there one day. I said, you pop up at my house, you could be sitting outside by yourself. I'm gonna tell them that I know you and I'm coming in. I would call the police. Don't you come over to my house without me knowing. Like, what kind of stuff is that? You do not cross no boundaries. You don't do that. And again, that borderline family love to cross boundaries. So she pops up and they're talking and Billy's letting Nova know, oh, I've seen you on the cover of this magazine. I read your book. I've seen you do X, Y, and Z. And she's like, I'm actually shocked that you stayed here. And Nova, I stayed because my family's here. And what's important is here. Like, basically this air of I'm better than you because I chose my entire family and stayed here, but you left. What? And it was here when Billy was talking to Nova. She was like, I asked my father to come and he turned me down. And basically he always treated you borderlines as if you were the cream of the crop and forgot about us. But Nova basically, just to get to the meat and potatoes of this part, Nova tells this woman, you're going to allow us to see him because you owe me. So now I wonder, something is going on here. I don't know what happened. Did they go to jail or something? Did Nova take the fall for Billy or something? Like, something had to happen to where Billy is kind of shaken with Nova. I don't understand. I don't know, and I don't know why she owes Nova, but I'm really hoping that we get to find out. Hoping that we get to find out. So we see Violet come home. Hollywood is definitely angry with her. He's being very passive aggressive. I can't stand that kind of stuff. I'm a very direct person. Passive aggressive energy. I walk away from that and I won't talk to you. I don't do that. You go be an adult and talk to me. So he does that childish stuff of that passive aggressive energy. He needs to just let that go. Oh, I guess I didn't use my good luck charm. Ha ha ha! I do look good. Just say to the woman, he brought up the fact that he did go by the diner. She wasn't there, and she's like, "Oh, we must have just crossed each other." Violet, come on now, like let that go, because what that gives me is that Hollywood went to that diner a lot earlier than what Violet thinks, and she probably should have been home before him if they had crossed each other. So we'll find out. We'll find out a little later, but we then see Nova talking to the guy again. He brings her over a vegetable casserole because his sister ate the pie. Nova thought that his sister was his woman, but found out it was his sister, and she's talking to him basically about how she just needs to take a break because everyone wants her to be basically like a leader of the Black Power movement in Louisiana. And she, this hashtag of Cancel Nova Bordelon came out, and he's telling her like, you have to be responsible for these things. I believe they did a hashtag because she called for a police officer the um, to come to the scene. However, she's also going for police reform. Let's be honest here. She was in a sticky situation because just imagine if the black folks would have handled it. Let me say that one more time. If the black folks would have handled it the way that we wanted to handle it with the white people, it would have probably ended up being a fight breakout, and then the police would have come anyway, and they would have either shot and killed some black people or arrested black people. However, her calling the police seems like it goes against her message. But she had to do something to say, hey, you know what? Let me not put us at more risk than we already are. And instead of them being respected, they were still seen as the bad people in the situation, only because of Nova's voice. So Nova is now getting heat from the black community. She's getting heat from the police officers. Nova is in a very sticky situation, and in order for you to get support, you have to be very open and honest with people. People don't get this. When you talk about the flaws in your own messaging, it makes people want to support and believe you more because you're realistic about it and you know what's at stake, and you understand how your position can be kind of in a sense pulled at. You know where it could be touched. You know the holes at for people to poke at, right? and you're recognizing that the holes are there. Nova never speaks about those things, and that's what puts her in a position and predicament that she's in, where she is not, where she gets the flack from both sides. You have to be honest with your community, Nova. That is the only way they'll fully support you. But she lets the guy know, like trying to be who she is, caused her to lose the man that she loved, the Calvin, the police officer, the white man. And you know, I'm pretty sure the guy's trying to date Nova, but Nova's just like, look, I don't have it right now. So we'll see how that goes, because I think they go end up kicking it or whatever. We'll find out. But last but not least, Prosper's out of his coma. Rafa goes to the hospital. Ralph Angel goes to the hospital. He thinks Prosper is dead for a minute, but he sees Prosper. He's out of the coma. They have their very emotional moment. He's showing Prosper the picture of the baby, the sonogram. And Prosper says to him, "You're gonna love your daughter better than I love mine. You're gonna love your daughter better than I loved mine." And Ralph Angel's letting him know it's never too late. But this is what I'm gonna say right here. This right here is a defining moment for why Billy probably not only left, but why she feels the way she did. Because Prosper just let us know that he did not take care of his daughter. He did not show her love, affection, compassion, which I think Billy said to Nova, like, he didn't show her any type of love. Like, he didn't give that to her at all. So how can you expect her to be a certain thing when you didn't give her anything? So the fact that she showed up is good. And I think Violet knows that Prosper was not a good parent to that girl, and she should offer her more grace. And not just Violet, but everyone else. The fact that she showed up is enough. But instead, they want to continuously cross boundaries to show that Prosper cares about them and that they care about him. Well, that's a slap in my face, because he didn't care enough about me, and I'm his child. So I I love the Bordelon family, but at the same time, moments like this shows me why people in our community need to work on not just communicating more proficiently and strengthening boundaries, but we need to learn to love, because we struggle in that area so much. We feel like love is, oh, I bought you something, or, oh, well, I took care of you, right? No, you got to show me compassion. You got to feed me, and not physically with food. You got to feed my soul. You got to pour into me all the good, healthy stuff, and show me what's bad, so that so that I won't basically fall into those traps, and I won't be those things. But see, black people, we struggle there. We really do struggle, and that's one thing I will say about white folks, that they have the freedom to do, and I will honestly say that they've learned, is how to actually communicate, pour into one another, and things of that nature. And we've always struggled there because of the history with our people. We weren't given the opportunities to do that freely. We had to do it privately. And then when we did it privately, we struggled to do it then. So that is my commentary on Queen Sugar Season 6 Episode 2 and Dream With Them Deeply. Thank you all if you sat through this whole review. I appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Tell me your thoughts and everything like that in the comment section, and I'll respond. So it's nice seeing you all once more. Thank you for coming, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.